Clark, I did get to the website. I've been looking at it and stuff, and I think it's a very cool project. And I think there's a ton of money to be made in a venture like that. I was thinking the same thing, actually, as I'm working on this. Why isn't anybody making something affordable for the amateur radio market? And you only have to look to that profiteer, Bob Heil, selling crappy, microphones with his name on it, as if, it's a Neumann, and and getting them in HRO and all over the place, and people buying those things. But then again, people buy dipoles in plastic bags. So that just looking at what you got here, and I'm thinking, what else could you add to that to improve it? I'm thinking maybe a 1K test tone. But that would just annoy everybody because somebody would be flipping it on for no reason at all. This doesn't need to be there. But that's a great idea. And then maybe come up with a line of things like that. You'd have that processor and maybe I don't know. A good compressor, like somebody should just take the schematic from the Uris that everybody loves on analog stuff. And make those things. I don't know how difficult that would be. If you went out and you get the circuits, the boards made, or you could even get the whole thing machine stuffed and do a bunch of those, and do something like that. I mean, I just think there's a ton of opportunity and a ton of money. And from what I understand, the hobby is actually expanding, not contracting. That's a great idea. I'm glad you're doing that, and I appreciate all the help very much. You said some very nice things, and made me feel good about the project, and I really appreciate that. I'm going to give it back to you, N1BCG from W1UUU.
And a question along those lines, Clark. That's a kit, that processor. Do you have to stuff the boards, or what level of competency do you need to put it together?
It is a kit. It's all through hole. There's no surface mount. We dispensed with the one surface mount chip a couple of years ago, so this is all like regular stuff. And the idea is that people who have got like their own parts cabinets and stuff. It's like you got a drawer full of resistors and stuff. You don't have to buy new ones. You can start using some of that stuff, but it's all common components. But there are, we are getting pushback from people who don't want to do something like that. And, there are folks out there who have said that they would be more than happy to build those because they enjoy building kits, and they may not have an interest in this, but they're willing to, work something out with the buyer to build it for them. But I think that in the future there's going to be a pre-made version of this, it'll be all surface mount, so you can kiss the modding goodbye, because I hate the idea of modding anything that requires tweezers to lift diodes and resistors that are the size of a tick. But I think it's kind of going that way. But for now, it's all through hole. N1 BCG.
And that's, you said you can use your own resistors, as in it's just the boards, it doesn't come with the parts?
No, it comes with everything. But I mean, if you've got a lot of your own parts, then you don't need to buy this stuff from us. We try to stick to as much common value resistors and capacitors as possible. So, someone could say, well, I don't have any spare parts. I don't have any part drawers. Then you can just get the whole kit. But if you've built up a collection of resistors and capacitors and everything like that, and you're like, oh, someday I'll need some of this. Well, here you go. Here's a great way to use it all up and build a processor.
Oh, okay. Well, because I do, I repair boat anchors for cash. I stock parts, and even just for my own convenience. I mean, I don't just, I'm not picking resistors out of dead marine radios like I was 40 years ago. 50 years ago. No, I buy new parts. I buy resistor assortments. I buy, Mylar caps, everything in bulk. So I don't have to, every time I'm working on somebody's stuff, stop and order this and that and the other thing. I don't know how many people would do that. Stuff the bare boards. I like the idea of you got volunteers stuffing boards. I might be on board with that. W2JBO. Larry, thanks for letting me in here.
Dirty. I'm with you. I buy my parts ahead of time. But not just parts. I'll buy at least 10 rolls of electrical tape at a time. I found this stuff as a company, I think it's Cambridge, on Amazon. That's the closest to the Scotch 33, a fraction of the cost. And, you buy 1,000 tie wraps, and, the same thing. When I went to build that board that Clark and I were talking about a little earlier, I had every part I needed here in different places. I mean, mostly resistors, but I had a 1N34. I didn't have a 1N34A. Somebody was selling knockoffs on the germanium. And there's a trivia question for anybody. Why is germanium called germanium?
Somebody else in there. I don't have an answer for that.
WAIIE is in here. Wild guess. It's from Germany.
Correctamundo. When they were naming the elements, they would name them sometimes after countries. There's Americanium or something like that. But yes, germanium was named for Germany. I didn't realize that. I worked with a Scottish guy that was really, really, really interesting. His dad was in the RAF, shot down over Malta. He grew up, he got killed when this guy was 3 years old. And this guy was tough. I don't know if you know any people from Scotland or anything, but that's a very cool culture and smart people. Matter of fact, if you look at radio, a lot of the theory behind it was this guy Maxwell. And I got to be honest with you, and funny because I was talking with Dave Snyder about this, and I love talking with engineers, especially about things that I don't know, because when you have a conversation about engineering, there's a right and a wrong. It's not like you're talking with your wife about, well, do you want to go to that restaurant? And well, I didn't like that, or the ladies' room was dirty. It's like, forget that. Let's talk vector forces or, impedance, something that there's a right or wrong. And I have trouble understanding why radio works. I know what they tell you, and they tell you that, you've got an H field, a magnetic field, and you've got these electrons running up and down a piece of wire, and that makes an induced magnetic field, and somehow radio waves come out of that. But it's not electrons going through the air, because electrons can't move through the air. And it's not pure magnetism, because if it was, you put a magnet next to an antenna, and the antenna wouldn't work.